Alright, guys, so me posting this video today, before I even get into it, is not me ignoring the issues, the problems, the chaos going on in our country right now. This is just a video I've wanted to make for a while now, and today I had time, so bear with me there. Also, in this video a lot, you're going to see me not looking at the camera like I am now. You're going to see me doing this like I'm reading something off the screen. That's because I am reading something off the screen. I typed all this out, wrote all this out beforehand, and looked over it because I wanted to make sure everything I wanted to say got said. If I just want this, saying it, just whatever came to my mind, it would be all over the place. So I did deliver a Zoom speech to my speech teacher. I'm doing this, and I made an A on that speech. So if it's good enough for her, I pray it will be good enough for you. All right, thanks, guys. So, all right, Trev, what are you doing? Uh, why are you making a video about your conversion to Catholicism? Well, most people I know are not Catholic. I was raised in a Protestant family, and up until recently, that was all I really knew. Maybe some of you watching, like my friends, maybe even some of my family, are surprised that I am now Catholic, as I haven't made any sort of public announcement about it up until this point. It's something that, in all honesty, I've been hesitant to talk about with a lot of people I have known for a while. That's partly because when it comes to my personal faith life, for better or often for worse, I have a tendency to be reserved. That's partly because you never know how some people will react, and it's also in fair part because I've said some negative things in the past about Catholicism, to Catholics even. Yet here I talk to you, a recently confirmed Catholic with the papers to prove it, and I guess I just wanted to be bold and address my new faith and not just fly under the radar. I felt a need to admit where I was wrong and where I now stand. Right, so how did this happen? Well, before my past before this past school year, my freshman year at Oklahoma State, I did not really know that many Catholics growing up. I had Latino friends that were Catholic, but we didn't really talk about our faiths. To be fair, around my freshman year in high school, I really lost any desire for personal effort towards my faith and growing in it. Besides maybe going to church on Sundays or a youth group on a Wednesday night, I don't think there was much about my life that would have told you I was a Christian. And there's no one to blame there but myself. Then one summer before my senior year in high school, I went to a Christian summer camp. It's a camp that I hadn't been to since I was a little kid, but my older sister was actually a camp counselor at this camp, and since she asked me to go, I agreed. And I ended up having, a pretty good time. I met some good people, but more importantly, it was really there that I decided to get more serious about my faith life. I made the decision to get baptized there, and it would mark the first time in my life that I began to regularly read the Bible, to pay attention in church, and to actively participate in Bible studies, not just passively being there. I grew in my faith quite a bit, and I like to think that some of that growth translated into my daily life and behavior. But obviously, as I am now, I'm far from perfect. I can still be a jerk. Um, so after that summer, this is during my senior year in high school, I became close to my youth pastor at my local church. He sort of became a mentor figure and helped me grow in my faith journey, if you will. So, around the beginning of the following summer, this is after my senior year, that's when I began to become somewhat curious about Catholicism. It started out just as curiosity. I'd looked into other religions before, Judaism, and particularly Islam. But This time it went differently. This was the first time upon looking into another faith I thought it had perhaps better answers and was built upon a really solid foundation. I looked at my Protestant perspective of biblical teachings and religious beliefs versus that of the Catholic view, and I found myself thinking, the Catholic view sort of makes more sense here. The more I watched and read, the more I found myself leaning towards the Catholic explanations and theology. I began to realize how many misconceptions I had about Catholicism. It was actually, somewhat troubling for me at the beginning to accept Catholicism. That would be to accept that I was wrong about a lot of my beliefs about Christianity and my faith, for that matter, a faith that I had become comfortable in, a faith that I had grown in. It was I was not looking for something different, nor did I feel like I needed something different. Then later that summer, again, this is after my senior year in high school. Sorry, I'm sort of trying to keep y'all in the timeline. This is going all over the place. But later that summer, this is a year after I'd been baptized, there is, funnily enough, another Christian youth camp that I'm asked to attend. My youth pastor was taking the entire youth group at our local church. I didn't really want to go, to be honest, because I would have been one of, if not the oldest. But since my youth pastor had done, so much for me, and he asked me to go, and he wanted me to go, I agreed. And then one night at this youth camp, they're having a praise and worship service with a live band, and during this time, the question is heavy on my heart, Lord, what do you want me to do with this new knowledge about Catholicism? If you want me to be Catholic, I need a sign. You'd be asking me to leave what I know, what I'm comfortable with, the faith that my family knows, And I'm sort of just like reflecting on this in my mind. And then in between worship songs, the lead singer takes the mic and says, I feel like there is a Trevor in the room, and he needs to know that the Lord's house has many rooms. I hear that, and I don't know what to think, to be honest. I'm sort of thinking, God, a simple yes or no, Trevor be Catholic, would have been a lot easier to follow. And so after the service, I found the lead singer, talked to her, asked her exactly what she heard, and she prayed for me. And I went to bed that night reasoning that since I did not know exactly what she meant, the message must have been for a different Trevor. But the next couple days go by, and I can't get her words out of her head. The Lord's house has many rooms. What does that mean for me? I came to believe, or reason, if you will, that since this message will not stop bothering me, it must have been meant for me. There's something I'm supposed to get out of this, and I can see it having one of two meanings. Either it means the Lord's house has many rooms, Trevor, doesn't matter which denomination you choose, just follow me. Or it means, Trevor, the Lord's house has many rooms, it is okay to follow this path towards Catholicism that I have begun to lay down before you. So a couple days go by, and I'm thinking on this, and after a later service at this same camp, they have what was essentially an altar call, but it was outside of the building for the guys. So I went out there, approached a man I'd never talked to, and asked him to pray for me, as I was having inclinations to join a denomination that I'd never considered for myself. So he did, and during his prayer, I believe his exact words were something like, Lord, I pray that you would make whichever denomination Trevor's supposed to join as clear as a neon sign in darkness. And at that moment in my mind, it was like a mental image, as if written in light bulbs, the Catholic Church, as if it was on Broadway. So I saw that, I reasoned with it, I accepted it. I was not going to put a limit on God. I was not going to claim to worship a great and all-powerful God, yet say, All right, God, you couldn't do that. You couldn't make me Catholic. So I talked to my youth pastor, told him what was going on. He offered some words of encouragement, basically told me to follow what I believed was the Lord's will. And I continued to pray about it. All right, Lord, what now? I don't even know where to start. And I felt like his answer was, whenever you get to Stillwater in a few weeks for college, find the Catholic priest there or find the Catholic church there and talk to the priest. So that's what I did. My second day on campus, after arriving in Stillwater, I found the priest of the Catholic Student Center and introduced myself to him, told him my story. I began going to Mass each Sunday, asking questions, continuing to learn as much as I could about Catholicism. After maybe a month or two or so, I finally made the decision to start the process of officially becoming Catholic. And in all honesty, at that point, I was not 100% on all things Catholic, but I trusted it was God's will for me to be there, even though there were some things that were hard for me to accept. There wasn't anything I'd looked into about Catholicism that I didn't think the church had a solid explanation for. So I decided to accept what I did not know on faith and look into it later. I joined RCIA, that's the Rite of Christian Initiation for Adults, or the classes that adult converts to the church must take before being confirmed by the church and being an official member. It's basically Catholicism 101. So anyway, I went through the program, growing in my faith and knowledge along the way. And very recently, I was officially confirmed and received Holy Communion for the first time. That's sort of the bullet point version of the story. I've had some people ask me, what caused you to have such a radical conversion? I don't see it so much as radical, nor do I see it so much as a conversion, really. There are certainly some ideas and beliefs of mine that have changed, that's for sure. But I really see it as more of a natural progression in my faith. I got serious about Christ. I followed him where I believe he led me, and I've got a lot farther to go, but I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. Becoming Catholic has improved my faith life. Perhaps I understand it better than I could explain it. I do believe Catholicism is the true fulfillment of Christianity. I do believe in the authority of the church and its teachings. So I guess the question now is, what's next? Well, I love talking about Catholicism, and I'll answer any questions any of you might have to the best of my ability, or I'll tell you I don't know, and we can look into it together. There's also at least one more video I think I'd like to make, but that's for a later date, a different topic. Thanks for watching, you guys. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it, genuinely. God bless. Thank you.